This analysis will examine a fundamental assumption of human experience, the belief that conscious choice is the primary driver of our actions. The evidence suggests a different reality entirely.
We begin with a central premise. What if the experience of choice is not the act of deciding, but is instead the final confirmation of a process that has already run to completion automatically?
The standard model of human decision-making is one of a deliberate process. We believe that options are weighed, consequences are considered, and then a path is consciously selected. This perception of agency is a core component of the subjective human experience.
The data, however, points to a different model, one where the underlying machinery of choice operates on its own, processing vast amounts of information and arriving at outcomes without any direct conscious input. Within this framework, conscious awareness is not the origin point of a decision. It is the confirmation event, the moment at which the organism is simply notified of a calculation that has already been completed.
Section 1. The illusion of control. Here, we will deconstruct the architecture of choice from a neurological standpoint. A decision is not a single point in time. Neurologically, it's a cascade of events that actually begins long before any conscious awareness. Signals are processed and options are filtered by the brain's internal systems all before the individual even realizes a choice is being made.
This leads to a concept called post hoc rationalization. After an automatic choice has already been made, the conscious mind constructs a logical narrative to explain why that decision occurred. It is this story that creates the subjective experience of being in control.
Section 2. The brain's automatic architecture. Now, we will examine the brain's default operating systems. The brain's preference for automation is fundamentally a matter of resource management. Conscious thought is slow and metabolically expensive. Automatic processing, on the other hand, is fast, efficient, and based on patterns. For this reason, it is the system's default state.
The primary mechanism for this automation is the formation of habits. Repeated actions create reinforced neural pathways, which drastically reduce the cognitive load required for future execution. These pathways function as high-efficiency circuits for behavior.
You see, the brain is not an analytical engine that processes each moment as if it were new. It is a prediction machine. It constantly leverages past experience to forecast future outcomes, creating computational shortcuts to conserve metabolic energy. This predictive process is not a neutral one. It is shaped by multiple internal filters. For example, emotional pre-processing attaches a value to certain outcomes, while memory bias gives more weight to recent or vivid events. These filters pre-select options long before they ever reach conscious awareness.
Section 3. How the world guides. An analysis of the external influences on these automatic systems. The external environment provides continuous input to the automatic brain. The framing of default options, for example, exploits the human tendency toward inaction. This makes the pre-selected choice the most likely outcome, all without engaging any conscious deliberation.
This is often not an accident. Modern systems, from digital interfaces to retail environments, are frequently engineered to influence behavior by targeting these automatic processes directly. The effect of this is that users experience guidance as if it were choice. When a system is effectively designed, its influence becomes transparent. The user perceives an independent decision even while their behavior is being guided along a predetermined path. The process is systematic. An interface highlights a preferred option. A recommendation engine directs attention. A pre-selected default simplifies the choice. Each step leverages the brain's preference for cognitive ease, influencing the final outcome. Section 4. The uncomfortable possibility. A synthesis of this idea and its implications. An individual automatic decision on its own is trivial, but the effect is cumulative. Minor choices compound into repeated patterns. These patterns then solidify into lasting habits. And over time, it is these habits that determine the trajectory of a life.
Conscious decision-making appears to be a rare event, reserved only for specific conditions. It's typically engaged in novel situations, high-stakes scenarios, or moments of deep uncertainty for which no pre-existing automatic script is available to the brain.
So why does the subjective feeling of control persist? Because it serves a critical function. The belief in our own agency appears to reduce anxiety and maintain psychological stability within an incredibly complex system. It is critical to distinguish the neurological mechanics from the subjective experience. The feeling of deliberation and agency is itself a real phenomenon, even if the underlying process is not what it appears to be.
If most decisions happen before conscious awareness, what would it mean to actually take control of them?